Hey guys, Jeff Glover here from Glover U. I'm here with the wonderful, amazing Justin Ford, coach and realtor extraordinaire. And we've got some awesome stuff planned for you for the next 30, 45 minutes or so. We hope you planned on that. Right now, you're hearing a lot about getting ready for the holidays, waiting until after winter, waiting until Thanksgiving's behind us, waiting until COVID is behind us. And Justin and I deal with this all the time, right? We are on the ground with you. One of the biggest differences and one of the biggest reasons why people join our programs is because we're listing and selling real estate every single day. We're not reciting scripts that we read in a book. In fact, our scripts get updated every single year. Why do they get updated every single year? Because we're practicing and using them every single day. So we appreciate you joining us. My name is Jeff Glover. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I've been in the business 18 years. I'm still on the ground with you, personally selling between 80 and 100 homes a year. We've got a team here in Michigan selling just under 1,000. And we also have with us Justin Ford. Justin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, Justin Ford here, coach with Glover U and also real estate broker. Excited to be here today with you guys and excited to be on here with Jeff. If you guys don't know, I actually started out my career in real estate with Jeff, worked with Jeff for 3 years. And the reason why he has me on today is because I've learned all this information since day one, and I've been able to not only master it within my own business, but have the opportunity and the chance to be a coach here at Glover U and teach all of you agents the information that we know. And this is actually one of my favorite sessions, Jeff, the Holiday Objection Handlers.
Yeah, so we're going to do holiday, we're going to do seasonal, we're going to get into some COVID concerns because I know it's a real thing. As a buyer's agent, as a listing agent, as a lead agent, either you personally or your people are dealing with these objection handlers. So a couple quick housekeeping items before we jump in. The actual scripts or handlers, if you will, everyone who registered for this webinar is going to get a copy of them. Now, I will recommend always that you write down what we say, because what we say is not always going to be word for word what is in our actual handler notes. Because again, going back to, we're doing this every single day, so it's just kind of natural language for us. So what I want you to do, and of course, if you're in the Glover U Inner Circle, it's going to be recorded and it's going to stay in there. If you're wondering if this is your first time, believe it or not, Justin's, this is sometimes people's first time on. What I would recommend you do right now is take out your phone, open up your Facebook app, click the little search magnifying glass, type in Glover space U space Inner Circle. Okay, it'll pop up and you can join the Glover U Inner Circle for free. This video is going to live in there, plus any other video we ever produce, the scripts, people looking for role play partners, accountability partners. Again, you just go to your Facebook app, type in Glover U Inner Circle into the search bar, click join if you want. Our magazine, I think it asks if you want to leave your home address in there. We have a quarterly publication that comes out. We distribute between 30 and 40,000 of those per quarter. You can sign up for that. That's totally free. We ship it to you for free. But Justin, let's talk about why we're here today. Right now, and quite honestly, starting in the beginning of November, I don't know about you. Again, we're both on the ground listing and selling, so I'm sure we're talking to some of the same prospects, which what I think is amazing about this is, and this is a whole nother session, but scarcity and abundance. Justin and I are in the exact same market, and we're both in Detroit. So we talk to the same people, which I think is awesome that we are working together, right? Like that's a testament to Justin's abundant mindset of saying, you know what, I don't care, I want to be in business with this guy. And my abundant mindset saying, I don't care, I want to be in business with this guy, right? Yep. So Justin, we're hearing a lot right now, the holiday, the seasonal, the COVID concerns, and we're going to jump right in. So we're going to go back and forth, folks. This is going to be a role play where we're going back and forth. And Justin, you're going to start us off. I'm going to be a seller, a concerned seller, and you're going to give me some reasons why it doesn't make sense to wait. And then once Justin handles my objections, then it's going to be my turn, and we're going to go back and forth. All right. So if you haven't yet, go ahead, write down Glover U Inner Circle. That's where you're going to want to be. Anytime we post videos, scripts, get yourself in there. But Justin, I'm curious, you know, I don't think, given all the news and everything that's happening right now, you know, Thanksgiving's next week. I think I'm just going to put this on hold for right now.
You know what, Jeff, I can totally appreciate that. And there's a lot of people who think like you, but you know, this time is actually one of the best times to actually get your home on the market and sell. Were you aware of that?
It's one of the best times?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure
Why is
you've been,
that?
well, Jeff, I'm sure you've heard of supply and demand before, correct?
I have.
And I'm sure you understand that, in a market where there is a lot of demand and a lot lack of supply, that your home, I'm sure you understand, would sell faster in a market where there is a lack of supply, correct?
Well, if there's less supply, then yeah, sure. I would imagine it's going to sell a little quicker.
Absolutely. And then even though Thanksgiving is next week, a lot of people are going to be home for the holidays. People are going to be, wanting to, see what's out there. So if there was a way that we could actually help you get your home on the market sooner than later, rather than waiting, and help you get the exposure that you're looking to get, I mean, what would stop you from at least wanting to sit down with me for about 20 or 30 minutes to hear what I have to say?
Well, Thanksgiving, like you said, Thanksgiving next week, it's going to be a busy week for us. Um, I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of people looking at homes next week. Do you?
Well, Jeff, maybe not on Thursday. I know that's the day that everybody likes to get together and obviously have Thanksgiving. But Friday and through the weekend, is the greatest time for people to actually be out looking at homes. And
Really?
so what we find every year is, while most people are waiting to put it off, people like yourself who are looking to sell, who take some action ahead of the rest of everybody, will actually get your home out there sooner than later, and really be the one to have people looking at your home instead of having to wait. And so with that being said, if I can show you a way to actually get more eyeballs on your home and get people in the door, I mean, what would stop you from at least wanting to meet with me and look into that?
Well, I guess if you're that confident, we were pretty convinced we were going to wait, but I guess we're open to hearing you out.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and meet, sit down, and if we can show you a game plan on how to do that, I mean, it just makes sense to get you ahead of the rest of everybody.
Fair enough. Let's do it.
Great. Jeff, I'm really just I'm thinking about waiting. Obviously everything that's going on right now with COVID and Thanksgiving coming up, I really think we're just going to probably wait until spring.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, Justin, I don't blame you. A lot of people I'm talking about, a lot of people I'm talking to today are telling me the exact same thing. With everything buzzing around about the holidays and COVID and the looms of a national shutdown, waiting until spring seems like the obvious choice, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's what me and my wife have been talking about.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that, Justin? You're actually the seventh person that I've spoken to today that has said the exact same thing. And
Wow.
can I tell you why that concerns me?
Absolutely.
You see, if everyone is actually putting their plans on hold right now and thinking that spring is going to be the best time, that's going to create a substantial decline in inventory, right?
I didn't think about that.
And what do you think will happen in the spring when all of these people who have said we're going to put our plans on hold because of X, Y, and Z now re-enter the market? That's going to create a substantial increase in what?
Supply.
Inventory, exactly. And
Yeah.
so put yourself in just, basic economics teachers for a second. All right. Do you get more money or less money when supply is high?
Less money.
Less money, right? You get more when demand is high and supply is low. So what's unique about what you just said, Justin, is that a lot of sellers right now that we're talking to are looking at, okay, what are the pluses and minuses to making a move right now? And one of the biggest pluses and one of the biggest reasons of why they're making a move right now is because they're actually finding that they might actually be able to put more money in their pocket. Now, Justin, if I could show you a way that might actually net you $10, $15, $20,000 more by selling now versus the springtime, would you be interested in hearing how?
I mean, Jeff, that actually sounds pretty good. And obviously, everybody wants to make more money, but how can you assure me that that can happen?
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. Unfortunately, there's no guarantees and there's no promises or a surety in this business. I would be lying to you if I told you that I could guarantee you that. But what I do know is history. What I do know is precedence. A history and precedence has already been set. You might be surprised to know that when we first entered into the shelter and home, during that process, we actually continued to see an increase in sales prices because of the lack of supply. Did you know
Hmm.
that in the month of May of 2020, meaning right when we were in the middle of shelter in place, home prices were still up in May versus say March or April? So in the middle of shelter in place, prices went up. Did you know that?
I think I heard something about that. My neighbor sold his house for like 20,000 over the asking price or something.
Yes, we've got dozens of stories like that, and I believe that history repeats itself, as I'm sure you've seen that through the years. And so, if it's all right with you, I'm going to be in your neighborhood anyways, or around the corner from you later today. I could swing by and safely take a look at your home, give you my thoughts on it, and if we have a conversation and it makes sense to wait until spring, I'll tell you. I'll say, hey, Justin, based on what your goals are and what your motivation is, even though you may or may not make as much or have a certain amount of increase in home value, I'm going to be straight with you and tell you what I see. And if the decision is to wait, then that's fine too. So I'm going to be, it looks like around 4:30. Would you maybe have some time for me around 5:30?
Yeah, I think I can make some time to have you come by.
Perfect. All right. We'll see you then.
Great.
Hey, Justin, I'm just so concerned. We've got Thanksgiving around the corner, and we've got, although, because we have people stepping out of the role play, we have people on from states all over the country.
Yep.
So forget about the rules in Michigan right now, because the rules just tightened on us. We got a lot of family coming over for Thanksgiving and for Christmas and for all of the holidays. I don't think it's a good time for me to have my home on the market because of all the family that we're going to have over.
Yeah. You know what, Jeff, I can totally appreciate that. And, I wouldn't want, showings taking place, when I've got my family in town either. So what we can do, Jeff, and we do this every year around this time, is we can actually customize the showing schedule around those specific times where you're going to have family in. And we can carve out, let's say, it's Black Friday when everybody's, resting after Thanksgiving. Maybe you guys are out, shopping in the afternoon or evening. We can actually schedule showings during that time. And anytime someone schedules a showing, you're actually the one that can approve that showing, or you can reschedule that showing just so that it doesn't get in the way or interfere with your family time. Yeah. And what's great is, again, going into the weekend, Jeff, that's when most people are actually looking at homes. And I'm pretty confident, because most people are taking the weekend off of listing their home, that there's going to be some pretty serious buyers that are going to be looking next weekend. And with your home on the market, customizing that schedule, I'm more than confident that we can hopefully get your home sold next weekend. How does that sound?
Well, I didn't realize that we could restrict showings during that time. We'll have to get the family out a little sooner. But you're saying that people are still shopping around Thanksgiving and around the holidays?
Absolutely. And frankly, if you look at it, Jeff, anybody that's going to be out looking at homes next weekend, you would have to say that they're pretty serious buyers, correct?
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, when most people are wanting to take the weekend to spend with family, if there's buyers that are out looking at homes, they're probably pretty serious, which ultimately means they're probably pretty ready to, or will be ready or pretty serious to put in an offer pretty quickly, wouldn't you say?
If they're looking at homes during the holidays, yeah, I guess so.
So if we can get your home on the market next weekend, again, without, inconveniencing your family time, but again, really get you out there to hopefully get an offer by next weekend. I mean, what would stop you from at least wanting to sit down with me for about 20 or 30 minutes to hear what I have to say?
I mean, I guess nothing.
Great. So why don't we go ahead and schedule a time to meet? I'll come over and we'll walk through a game plan together and set up a customized showing just so that you're not inconvenienced through the holidays. Sound good?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Thank you, Justin.
Great. Looking forward to meeting with you.
You too.
Well, Jeff, this time of year, it just seems like I missed out on the window to sell. I mean, we tried to get it, sold this late summer into fall, and we've been on the market for 4 months, and I think we're just going to wait until spring, to be honest. I mean, yeah. I just don't think this is a good time to sell.
Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, Justin, and by the way, I appreciate you allowing me to address your concern. It's a common one. We hear it constantly. People want to wait until spring. And out of curiosity, what specifically causes you to believe that spring will actually be a better time to sell than right now? I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are on that.
Well, Jeff, right around the corner, it's going to start snowing. And, I've just always heard that spring is just the best time to sell and winter time is the worst time to sell. Yeah. And I just think there's going to be more buyers. I mean, this Isn't that true, Jeff? Isn't spring the best time to sell?
Yeah, what's interesting is spring in most cases is the best time to buy, but not always the best time to sell. Can I explain?
Sure.
See, spring is the best time to buy because that's when sellers like yourself, because they've been told through years or through history or through family or whatever, or just general, conversation, that spring is a good time to put a home on the market. And by the way, Justin, there's no time of the year that's actually a bad time. Spring isn't a bad time either. Spring is a great time to be a buyer. And what we recommend for our sellers is to take advantage of one of the best times to be a seller. Do you know when that is, Justin?
No, when is it?
Most people are surprised to hear this. It's actually fall and winter. And
Wow.
so what we try to do for our clients is actually, I believe in win-win. Are you comfortable with me sharing with you a win-win strategy?
Absolutely.
So what we try to do with our clients right now, Justin, is we try to time it to where they can get their home on the market in a reasonable time in the fall or winter. And we can also get them out and start shopping for homes while homes start coming on the market after the holidays, right? Because a lot of people say, just like what you said, they either want to wait till spring or they want to wait until after the holidays. Well, guess what starts to happen in the month as early as the month of January?
People start wanting to sell?
People start putting their home on the market because so many people took their home off the market because of the holidays. So what we like to do with sellers like yourself is time it to where we can actually sell your home when you have less competition, which means more money, and that's not a bad thing, right?
Right.
And secondly, we can time the closing and time the occupancy, the post-closing time in the home to where you get to shop for all those homes as they start to come on the market. So for instance, let's say we have your home on the market by December 1st. And let's say it shows well, we price it right, and we're very aggressive with our marketing. Let's say we have it sold in a couple weeks. December 1st, December 15th, it's under contract. That's actually not going to close until probably January 15th or maybe even February 1st. And oh, by the way, I can usually negotiate another 30 days after that in the home post-closing. So you're not actually even moving until March. And that's putting your home on the market December 1. So you kind of have the best of both worlds. You get to put your home on the market while you have less competition, and you get to shop for a home once you safely know you've got an accepted offer on your house. And you can shop for those homes in the months of January, February when inventory starts increasing. Kind of have the best of both worlds there, don't you?
I never thought about it that way, Jeff. I thought if we, listed and sold right now that we wouldn't have anywhere to go.
No, see, that's what's interesting. I've been doing this 18 years, Justin, and knock on wood, none of my clients have ever been out on the street. None of them have ever actually been homeless. They always find something, because the reality is that you're going to have sellers that are still going to enter the market because they have to sell. What's interesting about this time of year, Justin, and here's what I'm concerned about. A lot of sellers say, well, I want to wait until, the spring or after the first of the year. When do you think most corporate transferees start their new jobs?
At the beginning of the year.
Beginning of the year, January 5th, 6th, 4th, 3rd. When do you think they shop for homes?
Probably around this time.
In the month of November, in the month of December, because by now they already know they're making a move and they're starting a new job. And would you think that corporate transferees tend to be more qualified or less qualified than just an average traditional purchaser?
More qualified, I'm sure.
Right. They have to buy.
Right.
And if there's low inventory and you have a buyer that has to buy, what do you think that means for you and your home's value?
Well, I can probably make out pretty good.
Exactly. Now I'm going to be right around the corner from you tomorrow around 3:34. If it's okay with you, I'd like to stop by, take a look at your house, and just give you some of my thoughts on what I think we can do to get it sold. And if you tell me, Justin, hey, Jeff, I hear what you're saying, and I understand you have all these reasons why it makes sense to sell now, but we still want to wait until after the first of the year, or we still want to wait till spring, I'll accept that. All right. I have no problem with that. But at least you'll have a chance to have met me. I'll have a chance to take a look at your house and share with you how we're moving more listings in the state of Michigan than any other team right now. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair enough. That sounds good.
All right, good. Hey, Justin, I'm a little concerned, not so much about the holidays or even waiting until spring. I'm concerned with COVID right now. I don't want people. I don't know if I really want people in my house right now. Are showings even taking place? I'm just really concerned about people walking through my house, and I have no idea if they've been exposed or not.
You know, Jeff, that's we're living in some pretty interesting times, and I can totally appreciate, that you want to keep you and your family safe, and trust me, my team and I want to make sure that you and your family are safe as well. And so we have been following specific protocol to make sure that that you are less likely to be exposed to COVID. Now, obviously, we can't guarantee that every single person that's coming in your home has not been exposed to COVID. There's no way of us knowing. However, what we do know is we are making sure that every single person that comes into your home, number one, is pre-approved or qualified to be able to purchase your home. We don't want any looky-loos or people just walking through your home that are not actually looking to purchase. And then number two, we want to make sure that every single buyer and agent that comes in your home is wearing a mask, okay? And then number three, we're going to make sure that no more than 4 people are in your home at a time, because we don't want large groups of people just walking through your house. And then lastly, Jeff, one of the things that I've always done is I've learned that listing your home on Friday to get the most amount of people through in a very short period of time, with hopes of hopefully selling your home over the weekend and having an offer in your hand by Monday. Do you mind if I explain?
Please.
So rather than, so let's say, listing your home on Monday where you have showings afternoons and evenings and you have to come and go out of the home, which is an inconvenience of itself, we list your home on Friday. We take showings Friday evening through Sunday. You make plans to maybe go to a family member's home or a friend's house, or maybe even get away and stay in a hotel for a weekend. We go in, we make sure the showings take place Friday evening through Sunday. And then by Monday, if we price the home right, we market it right, which we're really good at doing, by Monday, hopefully we're going to have 1 or more offers to be able to present to you, and then we're all done that fast. How does that sound?
That sounds great. As long as I'm not putting myself or my family at risk, I think I would be comfortable with that.
Yep, and we can also make sure that not only are gloves available when people walk in the home, but also hand sanitizer, as well as foot coverings, and a sign that just says, you must wear a mask. And we'll make sure of that, Jeff.
Yeah.
And so with that said, I'm actually going to be in the area tomorrow. Would love to stop by and meet with you for about 20 or 30 minutes. I'm actually available between 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. Which one works better for you?
You can swing by around 5 o'clock.
Okay, great. I'll put you down for 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Sounds good. We'll see you then.
Great. Jeff, I'm really concerned about, we, here in Michigan, we just went into lockdown today. I mean, are you guys even able to show homes right now? Or what's going on with real estate right now?
Yeah, it's a different time right now. That's for sure, Justin. And we're getting a lot of calls from current clients, from past clients who are wondering, with the cases rising and the new rules, are we even going to be able to sell? And the answer is, so far, it's only been a few days, but so far we're still having showings on our listings. We're still getting calls from buyers. We're still getting calls from sellers of people who want to make a move. So I know that COVID is a sensitive thing. It is a real thing. And I would never want to put your family or your friends or anyone's life in jeopardy. And whether it's touched you personally to this point or not, I think most of us know someone who's been impacted. And I can understand why you would be concerned about maybe listing right now or buying a home right now. And although there are some precautions that we go through and to keep everyone safe, there's obviously no guarantee. And so if you don't mind me asking, what is in your mind, what prior to COVID, prior to the changes, why were you thinking of making a move?
We're looking to downsize. Our kids are out of the home now. We've got this big house that we live in by ourselves, and it just doesn't make sense to continue staying here. And we want to downsize and kind of get into a 1-story ranch.
Got it. So aside from going to a ranch with no steps, which I'm sure is one of the reasons for downsizing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we just want the 1 level.
Got it. So aside from gaining a situation where everything's just on 1 level, what are, just out of curiosity, what are some of the other advantages to you by downsizing into a ranch?
Well, our mortgage payment's going to go down. We're definitely, looking to buy less than where we are right now.
Yep.
Secondly, we're we're looking to move into a different area. So where we're going, the taxes will be lower.
Yep.
So there's going to definitely be some savings there. And then, yeah, my wife will have a lot smaller house to clean.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure that she's pretty excited about that. It sounds like you've probably ran some numbers and done some math on this. And have you been looking at sites like Zillow, Realtor.com? Do you have an idea of where you want to go and what price point you're shopping in?
Yeah, we've been looking on Zillow, and there's not a lot of inventory out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. There's definitely not a lot of inventory, which is great if you're a seller, not so great if you're a buyer, that's for sure. And based on your sales price what you think your home is worth and where you're going and the reduction in taxes, just out of curiosity, how much will you save per month or per year? Have you actually calculated that, Justin?
I think if we're just looking at just savings, I think it's going to be about $500 or $600 a month.
Wow. 500 or 600 a month. That's like 6,000 to 8,000 a year, which is like 60,000 over the next 10 years. That's a pretty big chunk of change.
Yeah. So we see the advantage, definitely.
Just because I'm curious, I like to know, I ask my clients all the time, all right, now that you're downsizing, now that the kids are gone, what are you going to do with all this extra money? Have you actually taken into consideration with that savings, what you plan on doing with it?
We're thinking either about traveling or buying a second home in Florida.
All right, buying a second home in Florida or traveling. I've had a lot of people lately say we're getting a big RV and just traveling the country. That sounds like a pretty good idea too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in your mind, getting down to Florida, does it matter to you whether it happens soon or does it matter if it happens next year? When did you want to be down in Florida?
Honestly, now that winter's almost here, we were hoping to have a place. If we were going to get something in Florida, we were hoping to have something there within the next couple months.
Yeah, so soon. So you're planning on taking the equity out of your house, probably putting it down on the next one or paying cash for the next one. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question, Justin. If I can show you a way to put a few more bucks in your pocket to sell your home safely, would you be interested in how we're completing that for people right now?
Well, I would, as long as we're going to be safe, right? We don't, do you guys do any, because I heard earlier in the year, there was a lot of virtual showings or, like if things get really bad, are you guys doing virtual showings or anything like that?
Yeah, so we're equipped to help both sellers and buyers in the virtual showings, and those will probably become popular again, especially if the numbers continue to increase. And as part of our meeting, if it's okay with you, I'd like to spend a little bit of time sharing with you how we're safely selling homes right now. So I'm going to be in the area tomorrow around 3:30, 4 o'clock. Would it be okay if I stopped by and I went through that process with you? No obligation. You can say, hey, Jeff, we still want to wait, or I can maybe get you down to Florida before we see our first snowflake. How's that?
That sounds good. You'll be wearing a mask, right, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, sounds good. Then yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
Great.
All right, so let's stop the role play here for a second. Justin, any sort of observations or anything come to mind based on what we just went through, or anything that you want to get out that we didn't have a chance to talk about yet?
I think it's just important for those that are watching that objections are good. Right? Objections are good. That, when you get an objection from somebody who's concerned about COVID or concerned about if this is a good time to list or not, it's our job as real estate professionals not to just say, okay, you're right. I don't want to bother you. Have a good holiday, or I'll call you back when things get better. As you saw Jeff do, as you saw me do, it's important to let them know that you understand where they're coming from, acknowledge it, but also let them know that, there are ways around, being able to be concerned about having family in town or with COVID, right? It's our job as real estate professionals to really hold their hand through the process and not push them, right? We don't want to be pushy. We don't want to be, disrespectful or rude, but what we want to do is we want to lead them to a point where, like Jeff said, if it's okay, or, if this is possible, right? Making people feel comfortable without crossing any boundaries, but letting them know that we're equipped to be able to overcome their objections and really be able to show them how.
Yep.
and lead them to that resolve.
That's right. No, and what I love about you said there, Justin, is you cannot come across as pushy, right?
Right.
So, most people on this have probably followed us for a while, and so they know the rules of handling objections. Always smiling, always acknowledging, being empathetic, repeating the objection, and coming from of a place where we agree with them. Notice that whenever you gave me an objection, I wasn't debating, I wasn't arguing, I was agreeing with you for the first 10, 20 seconds before I even got into my scripts, right? I was saying, yes, I understand where you're coming from, and I'd probably feel the exact same way you do. What's fascinating about handling objections, and specifically the holiday ones, is when you agree with people initially, they tune in to what you have to say. When you debate or you defend, or you come from a position of you're the expert and you're wrong and I'm right, they tune you out. So it's amazing when you're handling objections, always agreeing with no matter what it is that they're saying, and then write these 3 or 4 words down. Okay, you agree, and then you say, and have you considered? Hey, Justin, I understand you want to wait till spring. I don't blame you. A lot of people are saying that right now. And have you considered? So, and have you considered is the most polite way you can challenge someone without them being offended, right? We don't say but, we don't say however, and have you considered? And then that's where you share your point of view. And at that point, you've already agreed with them, and you link the two together by saying, and have you considered? And they're tuning into what you have to say.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, hey, I love going this the back and forth objection handlers for seasonal, holiday, some COVID stuff. COVID's real, so I know you guys are experiencing it. A couple other things I want to get out, and then I'm going to let you take it over here, Justin. Before we got on, I was telling Justin we have the Ribble Group team advance in Denver, Colorado tomorrow. So I have a flight that takes off at 5 Eastern on the dot. So I'm getting a 2-minute warning here. So Justin, I'll let you finish this up. Before we do, there's a couple things I want to mention. Next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, that's the day after Thanksgiving. Next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to do a very similar thing with Jolynn Mercica. She's one of the top buyer's agents in the land. Always closes between 40 and 50 buyer sales a year. I mean, I'm talking 40 to 50 buyer sales. And we're going to have a conversation next Friday at 11 a.m. specifically on how she's still able to get offers accepted in today's market. So we're going to talk about how to make your offer stand out, and more importantly, get it accepted. How you register is the same way you registered for this. You go to gloveru.com/webinar. It's free. It's next Friday. Jolynn and I at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to gloveru.com/webinar. We're talking all about getting buyer offers accepted. And hey, it's the day after Thanksgiving. What else do you have to do? No, I'm kidding. It's a good day of rest or shopping or whatever, depending on what state you're in. Last but not least, Justin, I want you to go into, before I leave here, I want you to go into, obviously I think when people watch you, they think, man, I'd love to get to that level. I'd love to be that smooth, right? Or they may say, people watching this or seeing us maybe for the first time, how do they get that smooth? And you remember, I mean, back in the day when you were with us as an agent. So Justin, for those that don't know, I know he mentioned in the beginning, Justin started with us as an inside sales associate, where he was just on the phones all day long and became one of our best prospectors ever. So great, so that he became the manager of our inside sales team. And then as he was doing that, he was also selling real estate. I think he sold close to 100 homes, between your prospecting efforts and your own efforts, your first year with us. And so people might be watching, how do I get to that level, right? We talk about writing scripts and role playing them, but honestly, for yourself, before you share how they can get to that level, I want to hear from you. Like, how do you think you got to that level? Why are you at a point where anyone can give you any objection and you have answers for it? What did it take to get you there?
That's a great question. And, when I started working with you, Jeff, I mean, my first exposure to real estate, I thought I was joining your team to go out and work with buyers and sellers. But when I met with you that first time, you told me that I was going to be in a very intense prospecting, environment, inside sales program for 90 to 180 days, yep. Learning the ins and outs of prospecting, learning the ins and outs of lead generation, objection handlers, And I remember when I first met with you, I was a little discouraged about that because I thought I was going to be, going out and again working with buyers and sellers. But there was one thing that you told me. You said, Justin, if you trust me, you said it might feel like you're taking a step back,
Yep.
but you said it, if you trust me, this is going to not only help you become a great, prospector or lead generator, but a great real estate agent. And I mean, being in the environment of what you teach, obviously here on Glover U, but on a daily basis, learning every day about, role playing every day, writing out scripts every day, being in, 3 sales meetings a week, our 10 a.m.s,
Yep.
doing long periods of time to learn this information.
Yep.
And then putting it into action, making calls every day as an inside sales agent, 8 to 10 hours a day,
Yep.
really allowed me to master this process. And here I am, really almost to the week, 7 years since I joined your team, and I've already sold over 100 homes this year. And honestly, I wouldn't have the skill that I have if it wasn't for learning what you taught me those 3 years.
So number one, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. And number two, kudos to you on your success. I remember when you were sitting across from me, I said, Justin, all I need is 3 to 6 months of your life. Give me 3 to 6 months of your life. It's going to feel like a step back. You're going to feel like you hate it. You're going to feel like it's elementary. You're going to look around and say, why can't I go on appointments? Why can't I go meet with buyers? Why can't I meet with sellers? Give me 3 to 6 months of your life, and I'll give you a lifelong successful career. And my man, you took that advice and you ran with it. And now you're doing amazing things as a real estate agent and as a broker. And also you're teaching a lot of people how to do what you just did. So if you don't mind, Justin, and for those of you that are watching, I'd like you to stay on for the next 7 to 10 minutes. Justin's going to explain an opportunity for you to get to this level of skill. All right. He's going to explain a program which is super cheap right now because of COVID, but a way for you to get to this level of skill. So you're not just handling holiday objections or seasonal objections. You're setting listing appointments, you're setting buyer consultations, and you're getting more deals under contract. Are you comfortable taking it over from here, Justin?
Yes, sir.
All right. Stick around and listen to what this guy has to say. I'm headed to the airport. Thanks. We'll see you next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for all buyers, getting buyer offers accepted with me and Jolynn. It's all you, Justin. We'll see you guys.